Late at night, the room was quiet, but his mind was loud. The man sat on his bed, phone glowing in his hand. The clock showed 2:47 a.m. He told himself, just 5 more minutes. But 5 minutes had already become 2 hours. His eyes burned. His head felt heavy. Tomorrow was another early morning, another promise broken. This was not the first night. It was not even the 100th. He was a normal man. Not lazy. Not weak. Just tired of losing to the same bad habit again and again. Every morning, he woke up with regret. Every night, he said, tomorrow I will change. And every night, tomorrow never came. He tried everything. Motivation videos. Strict rules. Big plans written with strong words. I will stop forever. I will become disciplined. I will change my life in 1 month. But the stronger the promise, the faster it broke. One day, while brushing his teeth, he looked at himself in the mirror. His face looked older than his age. His eyes had no fire. He whispered softly. Why can't I change one small habit? That question stayed with him all day. At work, his mind was slow. At home, his energy was gone. Inside, a quiet shame kept growing. He believed something was wrong with him. That evening, while walking home, he passed an old bookshop he had never noticed before. The shop was small, quiet, almost invisible. A wooden board outside said, "Small steps change big lives." He stopped. Something about those words felt strange. They did not shout. They did not promise miracles. They felt calm. Honest. He walked inside. The shop smelled of old paper and tea. Shelves were full of thin books, not thick ones. Behind the counter sat an old man, calm and smiling, as if he had all the time in the world. The man asked softly. Looking for something big, or something small? The question surprised him. I want to break a bad habit, he said. The old man nodded, as if he heard this every day. Most people want to break habits with force, the old man said. But force breaks people first. He reached for a small book. Very small. Almost too small to matter. On the cover were simple words. Kaizen, one small step. This is a Japanese idea, the old man said. It means small improvement, every day. The man frowned. That's it? Just small steps. Yes. But my problem is big. That's why you are failing. The old man poured tea and continued. When people try to change everything at once, the mind fights back. Fear appears. Resistance grows. And habits win. He leaned closer. But when change is tiny, the mind stays quiet. The man felt something shift inside him. So, how small, he asked. The old man smiled. So small that your habit laughs at you. That night, the man sat on his bed again. Same room. Same phone. Same habit waiting. But this time, he remembered the words. So small that your habit laughs at you. Instead of saying, I will stop using my phone, he said. I will not touch my phone for 1 minute. Just 1 minute. His mind said, this is stupid. His habit said, you can't change anyway. But 1 minute felt harmless. He put the phone face down. He sat still. He started the timer. The first 10 seconds felt strange. His hand moved without thinking. His legs shook. His thoughts raced. At 30 seconds, he wanted to quit. At 40 seconds, he felt bored. At 50 seconds, he felt calm. The timer rang. 1 minute was over. Nothing magical happened. No fireworks. No sudden success. But something was different. For the first time in years. He did what he said he would do. Just 1 minute. He picked up his phone again. But the victory stayed in his chest. Small. Quiet. Real. The next morning, he did not feel like a hero. But he did not feel like a failure either. That night, he tried again. 1 minute. Then another night. 1 minute again. Sometimes he forgot. Sometimes he failed. But something strange happened. The habit stopped feeling like a monster. It felt manageable. The man did not fight his habit. He did not shout at himself. He did not force discipline. He simply showed up for 1 minute. Days passed. His sleep improved a little. His mornings felt lighter. His mind felt clearer. And then something unexpected happened. One night, the timer rang, and he stayed still. 2 minutes passed. He smiled. He did not plan it. He did not push himself. It just happened. That was the secret of Kaizen. Small steps do not scare the mind. They invite it. But the story was not over. Because habits do not disappear easily. They wait. They test. A hard day was coming. Stress was building. And the old habit was watching quietly. The man did not know it yet. But his tiny step was about to be tested. And the question remained. Can something so small really defeat something so strong? That answer would change everything. The man believed the hardest part was starting. He was wrong. Starting was easy. Continuing was the real war. At first, 1 minute felt safe. It did not threaten his habit. It did not demand change. It only asked for a pause. But habits are smart. They wait. They watch. They strike when you are tired. On the 7th night, the man came home late. Work had been heavy. His boss was angry. Traffic was loud. His head felt full. He sat on the bed and reached for his phone without thinking. Then he stopped. The 1 minute rule. He sighed. Just today I deserve rest, his mind said. Just today won't matter, the habit whispered. He felt the old pull return, stronger than before. This was different. This was not boredom. This was emotional hunger. He held the phone in his hand. His thumb hovered over the screen. His heart beat faster. 1 minute suddenly felt impossible. He remembered the old man's words. So small that your habit laughs at you. He smiled weakly. If I fail, he thought, I fail small. He placed the phone down. Started the timer. This minute was heavier than all the others. His mind attacked him with thoughts. You are tired. You need comfort. You will never change. His body wanted movement. His fingers twitched. His eyes searched for light. At 40 seconds, he almost quit. But then something strange happened. He noticed his breath. Slow. Deep. Still there. The timer rang. 1 minute done. He picked up his phone and scrolled for a while. But guilt did not come. Shame did not arrive. Why? Because he did not break a promise. That night, he understood something important. Kaizen was not about being perfect. It was about being honest. The next morning, he woke up earlier than usual. Not early, just earlier. 5 minutes. But those 5 minutes felt new. He drank water slowly. He sat quietly. He thought about nothing. For the first time in a long time, his day did not start with panic. At work, his focus improved a little. Just a little. Enough to notice. A colleague said, "You look calm today." The word stayed with him. Calm. That night, he opened the small book again. One page had a simple line. Do not fight the habit. Shrink it. Shrink it. The idea stayed in his mind. Instead of trying to remove the habit, he decided to make it weaker. He added a new rule. Before touching his phone at night, he would sit quietly for 1 minute. Nothing more. No rules about stopping. No rules about quitting. Just a pause. Days passed. Sometimes the pause worked. Sometimes it didn't. But something always happened during that minute. Awareness. He started noticing patterns. He reached for the phone when he felt lonely. He scrolled more when he felt stressed. He stayed longer when he felt empty. The habit was not the enemy. The feeling behind it was. This realization shook him. One night, instead of scrolling after the minute, he stood up and drank water. Another night, he stretched his arms. Another night, he wrote one line in a notebook. I am tired, not weak. These actions were small. Almost silly. But they changed the story. The habit no longer controlled him fully. It had competition. Then came the mistake. One weekend, he stayed up very late. No timer. No pause. No awareness. Hours disappeared. The next morning, guilt hit him hard. You see, his mind said. You failed again. You are the same. He almost quit Kaizen that day. But instead of quitting, he opened the book. Another simple line waited for him. Missing once is an event. Missing twice is the start of a habit. He read it again. And again. He understood. Failure was allowed. Giving up was not. That night, he returned to 1 minute. No punishment. No anger. No drama. Just 1 minute. Something inside him relaxed. Weeks passed. His 1 minute sometimes became 2. Sometimes stayed 1. Sometimes failed. But one thing changed forever. He stopped hating himself. He stopped using big words like never and always. He started using smaller words. Today. Now. This moment. And small words made space for change. One evening, while sitting quietly, he realized something shocking. He had not thought about quitting his habit for days. He was simply living. The habit had lost its power. Not because it was defeated. But because it was ignored. Kaizen did not break the habit. It made it unnecessary. But life had another lesson waiting. A bigger test was coming. Pressure. Deadlines. Conflict. A moment where old habits returned stronger than ever. The man did not know it yet. But soon, everything he learned would be tested. And only one question mattered. Are small steps strong enough when life gets hard? Change does not arrive loudly. It comes quietly, like a shadow that grows without notice. The man did not feel transformed. He still felt normal. Some days were good. Some days were slow. But something was moving under the surface. Momentum. He did not see it at first. He woke up one morning and noticed his phone battery was still full. Another day, he realized he had slept before midnight. These moments felt small, almost unimportant. But small things repeated do not stay small. At work, his focus improved. He finished tasks without rushing. He made fewer mistakes. His boss stopped checking on him so often. One afternoon, a colleague leaned over and asked, "What are you doing differently?" The man paused. He did not know how to answer. "I just take small pauses," he said. The colleague laughed. "That's it?" He smiled. "Yes. That's it." That night, he thought about those words. That's it. No struggle. No drama. No extreme discipline. Just small pauses. But momentum is dangerous too. It can make you careless. On the 10th day of feeling good, the man skipped his 1-minute pause. Not because he wanted to scroll, but because he forgot. Nothing bad happened. The next night, he skipped again. Still nothing happened. His mind noticed. See, it said. You don't need that rule anymore. The habit, quiet for days, smiled. On the 3rd night, he scrolled without thinking. 1 hour passed. Then 2. The old feeling returned, heavy and familiar. Shame. He put the phone down and stared at the ceiling. It's back, he thought. For a moment, fear rose. What if all this was fake? What if small steps don't last? He felt the old urge to quit everything. Then he remembered something important. Kaizen was not about streaks. It was about returning. The next night, he sat again. 1 minute. No punishment. No guilt. Just return. And the momentum returned too. This time, stronger. The man started noticing something new. He did not need motivation to sit for 1 minute. His body expected it. It became automatic. That was the moment everything shifted. A habit was forming. Not the old one. A new one. Then came the pressure. A big project arrived at work. Deadlines were tight. Expectations were high. Stress entered his days and nights. He felt tension in his chest. His jaw tightened. His sleep grew lighter. This was dangerous territory. Stress was the old habit's favorite food. One night, after a long day, the man stood in his room and stared at his phone. The urge was stronger than before. This time is different, his mind said. You need escape. His hand shook slightly. This was not boredom. This was survival mode. He sat down. The timer felt useless now. 1 minute cannot fix this, he thought. But he did it anyway. The minute passed. Nothing changed. He did not feel calm. He did not feel better. He felt disappointed. Then he remembered another line from the book. When stress is high, lower the goal. Lower the goal. Instead of 1 minute, he took 1 breath. Just 1 slow breath. In. Out. Something softened. Then 1 more breath. Then he stood up and placed the phone outside the room. This was new. He had never done that before. This was not willpower. This was design. He made the habit harder to reach. That night, he slept early. Not perfectly. But earlier. The next day, he felt proud, not loud pride, but quiet respect for himself. He realized something powerful. Kaizen is not just about action. It is about environment. Small changes in space create big changes in behavior. He moved his charger away from the bed. He kept a book near his pillow. He dimmed the lights earlier. None of this felt painful. It felt natural. Days turned into weeks. The man's identity began to change. He no longer said, I am trying to change. He started saying, I am someone who pauses. This sentence mattered. Identity is stronger than rules. When stress came again, he paused. When boredom arrived, he paused. When the habit knocked, it found the door already closing. But life had one more lesson. Momentum attracts attention. One evening, a friend noticed his new routine and said, You think you are better than us now? The word stung. The man felt uncomfortable. Change can make others uneasy. That night, he almost returned to the old habit, just to feel normal again. But he paused. 1 minute. He realized he was not changing to prove anything. He was changing to live. The next day, he smiled more. He listened better. He spoke less. And then it happened. One night, he forgot his phone completely. Not on purpose. Not as a rule. He simply did not need it. That scared him. Change was real now. And real change always brings fear. Because once you change, there is no going back. But the biggest test was still waiting. A test that would shake his new identity. A test where small steps would face a big storm. And only one question remained. When everything falls apart, will Kaizen still hold? Life does not warn before it tests you. The storm came quietly, then all at once. One morning, the man received a message at work. Short. Cold. Heavy. We need to talk. His chest tightened. Meetings followed. Numbers were shown. Voices stayed calm, but the meaning was clear. Pressure increased. Responsibilities doubled. Mistakes would not be forgiven. The man walked out of the room with a smile on his face and chaos in his head. Old feelings returned. Fear. Doubt. Restlessness. That night, he sat on his bed staring at his phone. The screen felt warm. Familiar. Safe. The habit was awake again. This was different from before. This time, it was not boredom or loneliness. It was fear. Fear is the strongest fuel for bad habits. His mind spoke fast. You cannot handle this. You deserve escape. Small steps will not save you now. He remembered his pause. He remembered his breath. He remembered Kaizen. But his hands were shaking. He tried 1 minute. It failed. His thoughts were too loud. His heart too fast. He grabbed the phone and scrolled. Minutes turned into hours. That night, he lost. The next morning, he felt heavy. Not just tired, defeated. He looked in the mirror and saw the old face again. The voice returned. You were fooling yourself. This was never real. People like you don't change. For the first time since starting Kaizen, he wanted to quit. He went to work on autopilot. His body moved, but his mind stayed behind. Mistakes happened. Small ones, but enough to hurt his confidence. That evening, rain fell hard. The sky matched his mood. He did not touch the book. He did not set the timer. He lay on the bed and stared at the ceiling. Then his eyes landed on the charger, still across the room. That small detail stopped him. He stood up slowly and walked to the charger. He did not pick up the phone. He picked up the book. One sentence waited for him. When you fall, reduce the load. Do not increase it. Reduce the load. He understood. He had been asking too much of himself during the storm. He closed the book and sat down. No timer. No rules. He placed one hand on his chest. One breath. That was it. No victory. No failure. Just survival. The next day, the storm continued. More pressure. More work. More fear. But he changed the goal. He did not aim to improve. He aimed to stabilize. He did not try to quit the habit. He tried to delay it. 5 minutes. Then 10. He also changed his space. He removed the phone from the bedroom completely. He placed it in another room before sleeping. This felt scary. But pain was already present. This pain was useful. The first night without the phone was restless. His mind resisted. His body searched. But he slept. Not well. But enough. The next morning, he felt slightly clearer. That small clarity mattered. Days passed inside the storm. Some nights he failed. Some nights he survived. Some nights he surprised himself. He stopped calling nights good or bad. He called them data. Each night taught him something. Stress made him impulsive. Fear made him avoid silence. Fatigue lowered his control. This knowledge became power. Kaizen was no longer about habits. It was about self-understanding. One evening, after a long day, he sat alone in his room. No phone. No noise. Just him. For the first time, he felt the fear fully. It hurt. But it passed. Fear, he realized, was not endless. Avoiding it made it grow. Facing it made it shrink. That night, he slept deeply. The storm did not stop. But he changed inside it. He became slower. Calmer. More honest. At work, he stopped pretending to be perfect. He asked questions. He requested time. He made fewer mistakes. People noticed. Not because he was strong. Because he was real. One afternoon, he realized something shocking. Even during the storm, the habit was weaker than before. Not gone. But weaker. The storm revealed the truth. Kaizen does not protect you from pain. It teaches you how to move through it. The man stood at a quiet place now. Tired, but awake. Changed, but not finished. He knew one thing clearly. If he could survive this, he could survive anything. But one final lesson remained. A lesson that would turn small steps into a new life. A lesson about identity. And once learned, there would be no turning back. The last door was waiting. And the key was already in his hand. Part 5 would reveal everything. The storm did not end suddenly. But the man was no longer waiting for it to end. He woke up one morning and noticed something simple but powerful. He trusted himself. Not fully. Not blindly. But enough. In the past, every promise he made felt fragile. Like glass. One mistake and it shattered. Now, promises felt flexible. They bent. They survived. That was new. He sat on the edge of his bed and noticed the silence. No phone. No rush. Just breathing. He remembered who he used to be. A man who fought habits with anger. A man who tried to change his life in one night. A man who failed and blamed himself. That man felt far away. Not gone. Just quiet. The old book rested on the table. He opened it one last time. The final line was short. Do not try to become disciplined. Decide who you are. He closed the book. This was the last door. Identity. The man understood something deeply now. Habits do not change life. Identity does. Every time he said, I will stop this habit, he was fighting himself. But every time he said, I am someone who pauses, his behavior followed naturally. That day, he changed his words. Not loud words. Not dramatic words. Simple ones. I am someone who takes care of his energy. I am someone who chooses rest, not escape. I am someone who improves a little, every day. He repeated them quietly. Not to force belief. But to guide action. The days that followed felt lighter. He did not wake up motivated. He woke up aligned. When stress came, he paused. When boredom arrived, he noticed it. When fear knocked, he breathed. The habit still appeared sometimes. But it no longer felt like an enemy. It felt like an old pattern asking for attention. And he knew how to answer. Small actions. 1 breath. 1 minute. 1 choice. Weeks passed. The storm at work settled. Not because pressure disappeared, but because he handled it better. His sleep improved. His focus sharpened. His voice became calm. People trusted him more. Not because he talked big, but because he showed up small and consistent. One evening, a friend asked him, "How did you change?" He thought for a moment. "I didn't change fast," he said. "I changed gently." That night, he reflected on his journey. Kaizen did not give him discipline. It gave him direction. It did not remove pain. It reduced resistance. It did not promise perfection. It offered progress. The man realized something important. Anyone could do this. Not the strong. Not the lucky. Not the special. Anyone. Because Kaizen does not ask for confidence. It builds it. He decided to write his own rules. Simple ones. Start too small to fail. Pause before escape. Change the space, not the will. Return without guilt. Speak identity, not intention. He followed them quietly. Days turned into months. The habit that once ruled his nights lost its place. Not by force, but by replacement. His nights became calm. His mornings became clear. One morning, he stood by a window as sunlight entered the room. He felt present. No rush. No regret. Just now. The man smiled. The heavy door he once faced was still there. But it was open. Not because he pushed harder, but because he learned how to turn the key. The tiny key. Kaizen. He understood the final truth. Big change is not loud. Real change is not fast. Lasting change is quiet and patient. And it begins with one small step. He was not perfect. But he was free. Free from self-hate. Free from broken promises. Free from the belief that change was impossible. As the day began, the man took a deep breath and moved forward. Not chasing a new life. Living it.